The first question was about the mandate of the GoldBod to fight gold smuggling. The questioner wanted to know what we have done about this. A lot of the successes we have chalked so far in terms of the significant increase in ASM gold exports from just about 63 metric tons in the year 2025 to 104 metric tons in the year 2024, to 104 metric tons in the year 2025 is as a result of the tightening of anti-smuggling compliance measures by the GoldBod. As you may be aware, President Mahama tasked us to establish a special task force that will focus on the fight against smuggling. This task force has been put in place. The president himself inaugurated it sometime last year. And even though we have some numerical challenges at the moment, we currently have over 150 members of this task force deployed across the 30 mining regions of Ghana, who on a day-to-day basis patrol the gold markets. They are also in touch with security officers manning various entry and exit points. We collaborate with a lot of these security agencies like NACOP, who have men at all entry and approved entry and exit points, and the Ghana Immigration. And through this collaboration, I'm sure, as you've seen in the media, we've made a lot of arrest and seizure from suspected gold smugglers. So these enhanced compliance measures have really helped us to increase the quantity of gold that is exported through formal channels. Since 2025 January to date, 170 metric tons of gold is what we've been able to mop up. There is nothing like that. Totally unprecedented. That is why Ghana today is not only the lead producer of gold in Africa, but number 6 in the world. And the difference this time around is that we are not just doing well on that ranking, but that good ranking is translating into repatriated FX, which is now supporting FX market stability. And one thing, as I say, dollar abusua ubiye pibia wunyebino na dollar bo abafomwa ama Ghana foso yehun aye. So that is what we have done in that area. There are different cases that are in court, and after the program we can give you the detailed updates because the cases are many, and due to time constraints I will not be able to give you update on all the individual cases. But thank you very much for your question. The second question I wanted to know about the McWood case, which is similar to the Dominic Bonsu case, and these are criminal cases being prosecuted by the GoldBod in the High Court. But we are not prosecuting these people because they have stolen GoldBod money. That is what you must understand. So in law we say that criminal offenses are acts in rem, means they are acts against the realm, acts against the state. But several cases are what? Acts in personam, acts against a person. So when you see the prosecution of a crime, it doesn't mean that the one prosecuting is the one who has been offended. It means that the one being prosecuted has violated a law, the law of the country. So there are gold-related offenses spelled out under the GoldBod Act. And if you're a gold trader and you violate that, you'll be prosecuted, whether or not the money involved belongs to GoldBod. This is the statement of accounts between the GoldBod and its licensed aggregator, Bower Rock, for 1st January 2026 to 31st July 2026. It shows that Bower Rock doesn't owe GoldBod a peswa. Rather, we owed him and we have had to pay him. And as I speak, we owe him over 500 million Ghana cedis in program cost alone. So nobody has absconded with our money. Because when we give money to aggregators, the aggregators give us an advance payment guarantee from credible insurance companies and reinsurance companies. And in some cases, those that we call retrocessionaires. They are reinsurers of reinsurers. And these guarantees protect the funds we give them so that should anything happen, the GoldBod has a remedy. We've not had to make any claim under that guarantee because our aggregators have fully settled all the outstanding obligations. But if you go and take their money in breach of trading regulations and the GoldBod Act, and they lodge a complaint with us, it's like somebody going to the police station to lodge a complaint. We will investigate and we'll prosecute you. So you will hear that we are in court with some licensed traders because they have misappropriated or are unable to account for funds given them by an aggregator, it doesn't mean that the money belongs to the GoldBod. That is the explanation I have for you. Then, number 3, what is the GoldBod doing for Ghana to achieve revenue for development from record gold prices? Kluche, the answer is the GoldBod. Without the GoldBod, this record high gold price we are currently witnessing would have eluded the country, because the chunk of the gold would have left the shores of Ghana through informal channels, through the Togo border, through a Lubo border. The effects would not have come back, and the revenue that Ghana ought to have gotten would not have come. And that is why President Mahama established the GoldBod. You recall the gold mafia documentary of Al Jazeera, in which one foreigner called, is it Alistair Matthias, indicated that at the time in 2024, and the time before GoldBod, he could smuggle as much as $40 million of gold out of Ghana every month. And he claimed he was well, let me not talk about that. So imagine now having an entity who has to buy all that gold, the sole buyer and the sole exporter. And all these people cannot do that. They all must come to the GoldBod. So don't be surprised when you see people attacking the GoldBod the way they do, because those people have not stopped fighting us. They are not happy with the status quo. So they will contract agents and induce them to fight this patriotic cause. But let us be very alert to some of these things so that we are not hoodwinked. Now, semantics. How is the GoldBod working to prevent loss? Yes, nobody is saying that there's not been a loss, but be factual about it. You can't say that Cocoa Board has incurred a loss and that loss should be blamed on TV3. And if TV3 issues a statement to say that we didn't make the loss, it is Cocoa Board loss, then you say it is semantic. That is not semantics. Because a lot of public institutions and public officers in this country have been denigrated, their reputation damaged on the altar of lies, and because they did not rebut those lies in good time. And that is why we have decided not to wait for these repeated, tired, false narratives to become truth in the minds of the unsuspecting public, and we have to set the record straight. So it's very important. It is not semantics. And number 2, you say that what are we doing? The solution is a GoldBod model. You see, Bank of Ghana is a central bank. They were not established to trade gold. It is not their core function. They don't have a gold trading department like the GoldBod established by Mahama has. That is why the nation builder in his vision saw the need to entrust this gold purchase arrangement to a specialized agency with specialized powers, specialized functions and resources, which will be called the GoldBod. So since March, we've been trading gold in the proper sense of gold trading. We don't only buy physical gold, we trade derivatives. And we trade gold 24/7. And so far, we've not made any losses. In trading, you can make profit, you can make losses. You just ensure that at the end of the financial year, the overall profit is more than your losses. But we have not even made any losses yet. If we had, we will concede, and we will not allow anybody to foist on us losses that we have not made. And so you ask, how different is our trade model from the domestic gold purchase program? Number 1, unlike domestic purchase program where gold was bought based on live prices, which doesn't allow the buyer to plan and to know at any given time gold that is bought and the accurate cost price for the gold. The GoldBod has a new pricing mechanism. We use LBMA AM, LBMA PM, 2 pricing windows. That brings predictability and certainty. It allows us to know real-time gold that is bought for us and the accurate cost price, so that you cannot increase the cost price. And the GoldBod is also allowed under the GANRAP to hedge. Bank of Ghana was not hedging gold. We engage in hedging. We engage in derivative trading on gold futures. You understand? So there are many things that we do. For example, in how Bank of Ghana sold gold. Bank of Ghana will get agents to buy gold for it, including PMMC GoldBod, within T+4. Once the gold got to Accra, it had to be exported. Whether or not the price had dropped or the exchange rate had appreciated, they will export, because their focus for that program was bring the FX in, because the nation was in crisis. But under the GoldBod, we don't do that. We can give you gold, and for 1 year, we will not fix the price. Our offtake agreements, you can come and see, provides for that. We can give you gold, take 85% of the prevailing value, and defer price fixing for up to a year, which we can even renew. We can sell gold to you even before we deliver the gold to you. We call it sales in advance of shipment. and we can sell gold upon shipment. All these mechanisms were not present in the XWAL domestic gold purchase program. And that is why President Mahama established GoldBod, and that is why in March 2026, we have now begun the full implementation of this mandate. So you can be rest assured that the same challenges that plagued the domestic gold purchase program and led to recurring losses from 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025 will not be repeated under this new GoldBod model. Then I believe the final one is whether I'm jittery. Well, I believe you should know me better. My good brother Felix says something. He says politics is a contact sport. And so when you are involved in politics, you are involved in boxing. You should be ready for tackles, you should be ready for punches. And some of us are vaccinated against political mischief. We've taken the vaccine, so we are not worried at all. But what I want to say is this. If the one under whose tenure has bought chairman as ECG, where ECG recorded a loss of 8.2 billion, is not facing any onerous bail terms, then how can Sami Jenfi, under whose tenure the GoldBod has exported 170 tons of gold through former channels and brought into this country over 17 billion United States dollars in 1.5 years, face onerous bail terms? Under your tenure, not a gram of gold produced in Ghana was refined in Ghana. Today, over 9 metric tons just this year of gold we have bought refined in Ghana. We are changing the value addition story. So you see, such statements are reckless. They are what I call the fanciful efficiency of a palm wine bar. You take it as comic relief. And it is very sad. You see, when we say this, he says we are not insulting him. This is somebody occupying a seat once occupied by the venerable J.H. Mensah, the venerable Papa Uzu Ankoma, or Seiche Mensah Bonsu. Look at the depth and the substance of these personalities. When they rose to speak on parliament, look at the command they commanded across the aisle. And look at how this seat has now been so bastardized and depraved by a noisemaker who cannot even read and research and get his facts right. So I will go to prison in his brain, and I will have onerous bail terms in his brain. I'm not afraid of any intimidating tactics, because we are serving Ghana in good conscience, and our resource and posterity will speak for us. Thank you very much. A cop wanted to know the losses we are talking about as having been made by Bank of Ghana. Are they really losses? Well, to the accountants, they are losses. That is why the IMF calls them accounting losses. But an accounting loss is not an economic loss. But because we are discussing this within the context of audited financial accounts of an organization, you can call it a loss. It's an accounting loss. But understanding that is important. That loss is not because of a fee, a lawful fee paid for assay or for services rendered, which are not free services. Neither is it because of a 1.2% discount offered the eventual buyer, the off-taker. Those are not the reasons. That is where we think the IMF got it, mischaracterized the issues. Those are what you call baseline program cost. Okay. But when you're talking about the accounting loss, I would say it's not even 50%. Over 80% of it is the difference between the Forest Bureau rate at which gold is bought and the fact that in Bank of Ghana's books, the dollar proceeds will be converted at Bank of Ghana rate. So today, let's say Forest Bureau rate. And Forest Bureau rate is not a paro rate. It's not a black market rate. It's a lawful rate because they are regulated by BOG. Let's say today, hypothetically speaking, because I've not checked, you need, say, 12.5 cedis to get $1 in a Forest Bureau. Under the domestic gold purchase program, agents of the Bank of Ghana were to buy it at this, we call it market rate or retail rate. Bank of Ghana is the one that says the agent should buy it at that rate. It is not the agent who decides the rate at which it will buy gold for a principal. You understand? But if the gold is sold and the dollar proceeds hit Bank of Ghana's account, the accountant at Bank of Ghana, in converting dollars into cedis, because the account must be in cedis, will not multiply it by 12.5, which is Forest Bureau rate. You will multiply it by Bank of Ghana rate, which should be around 11.1. So that book loss, you can call it that, accounts for 80 to 90% of what we are talking about. And we have explained this. The bank itself has explained this. Okay? If GoldBod was the one implementing this program, we would not have accepted this on our books, because we would have insisted for Parliament to pass the right laws that will allow the right treatment to be given that conversion. But because Bank of Ghana is a central bank, and all central banks are bound to operate with their own rates, their hands are tied. So that is the dilemma, or that is a difficult situation the bank found itself. And they knew this right from the inception of the program in 2021. This is not a new phenomenon. This is not something coming up today. Like I told you, in 2024, they were buying gold at as much as 17 cedis to the dollar. You understand? Even in 2025, the rates came down because the cedi appreciated. So the dollar came down. So things were better. Imagine we're buying gold at 17 cedis to the dollar at the quantity we bought and at those prices. You could have imagined what the figures would have been. So that is what it is. It is not an economic loss. It's an accounting loss. The IMF itself calls it valuation effects. And if you want to know the meaning of valuation effects, just Google it. So you bought something at one exchange rate, the exchange rate you use to convert is different. That is what really the chunk of it is. Okay, and not because somebody there at the Bank of Ghana is incompetent or has stolen money. Austin, I'll tie your question to it. So your question is, why didn't we stop? Why can't we stop this? Why are we continuing with it? The answer is simple. We have stopped it. No, the GoldBod was established in April 2025. So once you pass an act to establish a company, then the company will have departments, it will have task force, it will have market controls, and immediately begin to implement its mandate. Is that what you're suggesting? I'm not sure that is what you're suggesting. Because a baby must learn how to crawl before he walks or runs. You need time to set up an institution like the Ghana GoldBod. And it took us 9 months to do that and to get our funds to do that. Now that Bank of Ghana has exited, the IMF also mischaracterizes that. They say that they have transferred domestic good purchase program to us. Domestic good purchase program has not been transferred to GoldBod. We are not implementing domestic good purchase program. We are implementing our statutory mandate. And under that mandate, we buy gold at Bank of Ghana reference rate. Currently, we buy Bank of Ghana reference rate minus 10 pesos. We have moved the exchange rate determinant of local gold prices from black market under the MPP to Forest Bureau to now Bank of Ghana reference rate minus 10 pesos. You can go on our website now and check. And we've done this in just about a year. So we are not repeating that. Good. Now, are we interested in past losses? As I've explained to you, I'm sure the domestic good purchase program is being audited forensically by the Bank of Ghana itself from inception 2021 to date. Because under them, you didn't hear a lot about domestic gold purchase program. Who here remembers under the MPP in 2024, 2023, whether you heard any publications about losses under gold for reserves and gold for oil? It was all shrouded in opacity. And that is why when the governor went to the Bank of Ghana Public Accounts Committee and spoke about losses made under the program in 2024, the chairperson, Abna Sari, said, Governor, give me evidence. She was challenging the governor that it is not in BOG's audit report, so it is not true. Until the IMF stated in their latest report that 2024 loss was $400 million. You've seen that they've kept quiet. So the Bank of Ghana, therefore, is auditing the program forensically from inception 2021 to date. And I'm sure that what was due to accounting translational effects will come out. And if anything was attributable to criminal conduct or negligence by anybody, it will come out in the audit. So let's wait for that. Then, is GoldBod selling its good itself? That is what we mean when we say that effective March 2026, the GoldBod is now implementing a statutory mandate. What that means is that, unlike in 2025, where we were merely a buying agent, just like Resafy, a private company, giving money to buy gold on agreed terms. Now, we are not Bank of Ghana's buying agents. We raise money. The money can come through BOG or commercial banks directly or from our off-takers. And we buy gold, and the gold is ours. We sell the gold ourselves under off-take agreements signed by us. And the dollars come into our bank accounts as GoldBod. And then we sell the dollars to the Bank of Ghana and commercial banks. So that is what we have been doing since March, April 2026. That's the difference. Good. Now, Salah, like Felix said, I answered your question. But let me just add this. He said people say that because of the role I played in opposition and all that. I'm not the only person who played a role in bringing the NDC to power. And I am not those who think that because of the role I played in opposition, I should be insulated or immune to criticism. Public officers must uphold the principles of probity and accountability. That is the underlying principle of the 1992 Constitution and a very key tenet of value of the National Democratic Congress that I belong to. So we embrace and welcome constructive criticism. When Kojo Opon Kroma, for example, criticizes GoldBod, I may disagree with him and say that he's not being factual. But it's not personal because he's making an intellectual argument. Okay, if somebody like Abner Sari or say criticizes GoldBod, you can see that poor woman, he doesn't have the information. It's not personal. It's not personal. She doesn't have the information. You understand? If Anta criticizes GoldBod, all of them have criticized us in the past. We've not done a press conference. It is their entitlement. They are entitled to the opinion because they don't make it personal. You've not heard any of them talking about, hey, any bail conditions, they are best soon. You understand? But when you hear that guy speaks, you know that there is a problem. This is personal. So we are not saying that we are above criticism. No, we accept and embrace criticism because it is at the heart of public service. Land reclamation. This is one of the issues that His Excellency the President is very, very passionate about. It is true that when a concession is allotted to a miner, be it a small-scale miner or a large-scale miner, there are requirements under the mining regulations of Ghana for them to undertake reclamation of. They must cover pits, they must plant trees, and in some cases they are even asked to post environmental bonds by the EPA. And therefore the responsibility for reclamation, lies at the doorstep of that licensed miner. But look, we've been mining gold for over 126 years, and we all know that the enforcement of this reclamation requirement has been a challenge. And yet GoldBod, that is barely 2 years old, must confront these age-long problems, these decade-long problems. But we are not going to make excuses. We are not going to say that these problems predate us, so we are going to fold our arms and just lament. So President Mahama is saying that even though GoldBod, you didn't cause the damage, because I have now set you up and you are now operating effectively and you're supposed to make profits from the gold you're buying and selling. When you make the profits, there is something called corporate social responsibility. Go to the areas that the lands have been devastated without reclamation and use part of your profit to reclaim those areas. That is why we went to Samreboy, Tano Nimiri Forest, and currently we are reclaiming 50 hectares. We have engaged the Engineers Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces and the Forestry Commission. We are paying them over 35 million Ghana cedis for that as a part of phase 1. And next year, President Mahama says we should cover at least 150 hectares of degraded forest reserves. And we are going to do that next year. So it is not our obligation, it's the obligation of the miners, but you cannot say that because that has not been done over the years, nothing should be done. And that is why GoldBod is a very important intervention that we must all support. Because if you didn't have a GoldBod, who will be reclaiming Apaprama and Tanon? Who will be doing that? The private people will not do it. And we have to always rely on donor funds for these reclamation projects. Now, traceability, an issue that keeps coming up, Galamsey gold. So, since Ghana started producing gold, that gold has always had a market. That gold has always been bought. And it was being bought by private individuals, and we're all in this country. And nobody said anything. And private individuals who were foreigners and Ghanaians bought this gold and exported it. Until the MPP government in 2021 decided to now go into gold purchasing. And when they went into gold purchasing through the Bank of Ghana and aggregators of the Bank of Ghana like PMMC, under gold for oil, gold for reserves, they were buying gold. Nobody even spoke about who they were buying the gold from. It was never an issue. Then GoldBod comes in 2025, and all of a sudden somebody says that, the reason why Galamsey is going on is because of GoldBod. Did Galamsey start in 2025 or 2026? No. Gold will always and has always had a market. Okay. Now, GoldBod has a buying system for buying gold. And that buying system is that we go through private licensed entities to buy the gold from miners. Now, we have told these people in their terms and conditions that buy gold from licensed miners. How do you check if that is being done? The only way you can check is through the use of technology. That is what we call traceability. And this technology has been non-existent in Ghana for decades. But I'm happy to tell you that under the direction of His Excellency President Mahama, we are now involved in a national competitive tendering process, which will be concluded this year and will allow us to acquire a modern traceability system, which will help us to trace every ounce of gold we purchase as GoldBod to their mines of origin. So once that system now is rolled out, then we will be able to know the sources of the gold. And then Parliament can pass a law as to what should happen to Galamsey gold. Whether that gold should be rejected and we should allow the people to smuggle it, or we should confiscate it, or we should buy it at a punitive discount. We'll go to Parliament for Parliament to pass that law. But for now, if Sami Jemfi sits in Accra, CEO of GoldBod, and his aggregator brings him 20 bars of gold, 5 kilograms each. If you hold a 5 kilogram bar of gold, can you with your naked eye tell where that gold, the components of that 5 kg bar, and which parts of the country or which mine it came from, for you to say I will reject or accept? No. And that is why we need technology. Nobody has done it. Those who did good for oil, good for reserve didn't do it. Our President Mohammed's GoldBod will do it this year. Thank you very much. Now, the final one is on GANRAP. Austin, GANRAP aims at accumulating foreign reserves of 15 months of import cover. The finance minister calls it building shock absorbers for the economy, so that in the day of exogenous shocks like COVID-19, Russia, Ukraine, we will not be lamenting and making excuses. So we are preparing for what the Bible calls the evil day. So that is what we are doing. But we are not doing that only from large-scale gold purchases. When we talk about reserves of 15 months of import cover, we are not talking about gold reserves. We are talking about foreign reserves. And that reserves is either in gold or in United States dollars. So what the GoldBod is doing helps us to increase the reserves in US dollars. Because the dollars we bring, part is sold to commercial banks so that BDCs and all importers and businesses who need dollars can get that. The remainder is added to the reserve to shore it up. You understand? And then gold that is also bought is also kept in the reserve, because gold is a reserve asset. So through the combination of GoldBod's ASM gold purchase program and the Bank of Ghana's large-scale gold purchase program, which now GoldBod is just the implementing agency. The large-scale companies brings the gold to GoldBod. We ensure that it is refined locally so that we can get an LBMA certified refinery in Ghana. But the Bank of Ghana pays the large-scale mining companies directly. We are doing that pari passu with our ASM gold purchases, which also brings in hard dollars that also goes to shore up reserves. I know Honorable Minister will let us end the engagements here. Or we will take one last one. The last question in terms of funds that we have raised. Between March and May this year, under our model to raise advances from off-takers, we were able to raise close to 839 million United States dollars on our own from off-takers to buy gold. And all that dollars was sold to the Bank of Ghana. 839 million United States dollars that we sourced from our off-takers into our bank accounts at Bank of Ghana, which we offloaded, the FX we offloaded to the Bank of Ghana at the Bank of Ghana reference rate under a forex sale agreement between Bank of Ghana and GoldBod. So that is with off-take advances. Then you have our program to raise money directly from the commercial banks, because this whole talk about Bank of Ghana financing GoldBod, you need to understand that it doesn't mean that Bank of Ghana goes and take its own money and give it to GoldBod to buy gold. You see, there is something called intermediation, and intermediation means that there are businesses and individuals in Ghana who need foreign currency dollars to transact business, and economic activity is not able to generate the supply of that dollars in the banking system to meet that demand. So the Bank of Ghana comes up with a beautiful program, intermediation, and says, commercial banks, if your customers need the dollars, take all their cedis and bring it to me, the central bank, as an intermediary. That is why it is called intermediation. as an intermediary through an auction and tell me that you want $50 million from your customers. Then Bank B will say, I want $100 million. Bank C will say, I want $10 million. And bring me that CDs from your customers. Then I will take it as a middleman. The Bank of Ghana is like a middleman intermediary. And I'll give it to GoldBod to convert the CDs into gold. Sell the gold for dollars. And when GoldBod sells the dollars to us, we will give the dollars to you. That is the process of intermediation. And that is what people think, that when we say BOG financing GoldBod, is as though BOG is giving free money. No, it is a partnership. But what we are seeking to do this year is that we want a certain collaborative framework that allows the GoldBod itself to deal with the commercial banks directly without going through Bank of Ghana. And we want to do this through what we are calling a funded FX forward sales arrangement. We did the pilot on the 3rd of August. We raised $75 million from the commercial banks directly, and we settled it in 48 hours. In 48 hours, we were able to convert the $78 million into gold and into the CD equivalent into gold and dollars, and we settled them in dollars, no losses. But the Bank of Ghana has some concerns. So the Ministry of Finance is working with us for us to get broad stakeholder inputs into the framework before we resume. That is why it is on hold. We also have another plank of that model where we use our own seed capital and the working capital of aggregators to buy gold, bring in dollars, and we sell directly to commercial banks. And through that arrangement, we brought in $164 million, and only 2 days ago, $270 million. So put that together, roughly, you're talking about over $450 million. Our activities generate a lot of foreign currency. So these are the different planks of the new funding model that now that the GoldBod is implementing the gold purchase program from beginning to end as buyer and seller and owner, these are the models we are exploring. Then there was a question from our sister that what if there are risks associated with this funding model and off-takers and commercial banks pull out, what will we do? Gold is a very risky, gold trading is a very risky enterprise. There are so many risks, but it behoves on every gold trading institution to put in place the necessary risk mitigation measures to manage the risk. And so we carry our stakeholders along. So far so good, and we don't think that we believe they have absolute confidence in our model. So far we've received 15 letters from 15 commercial banks who have expressed interest that they want to be onboarded to participate in our funded FX forward sale arrangement, and we believe that more will join. So we don't think that stakeholders will pull out. A lot is happening, and I hope to come back here subject to the invitation of the Honorable Minister for us to have a broader conversation about some of the milestones we are chalking in this endeavor and what the next chapter portends for the GoldBod. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.